1961, which 1961, which leads to October Southern Cameroon. The flag of Southern Cameroon is made up of 1961, which leads to October Southern Cameroon. The flag of Southern Cameroon is made up of 1961, which leads to October.
Glory, we the Ambazonian, nation loyalty. Praise the soul of Savior who granted us the freedom. Allegiance to the hero who bowed the lonely diablo. Glory to glory, we rise and never to fall. Here in a nation, flowing with earth and holy. Glory, glory, glory to the Father for making you a nation, a joy forevermore. Ambazonian, land of freedom, you shall live in plenty, meeting our need, and your children shall be like the stars above. The Most High God being the watchman of this nation. Ambazonian, land of freedom, you shall live in plenty, meeting our need, and your children shall be like the stars above. The Most High God being the watchman of this nation. This land of glory, we the Ambazonian, nation loyalty. Praise the soul of Savior who granted us the freedom. Allegiance to the hero who bowed the lonely diablo. Glory to glory, we rise and never to fall. Here in a nation, flowing with earth and holy. Glory, glory, glory to the Father for making you a nation, a joy forevermore. Ambazonian, land of freedom, you shall live in plenty, meeting our need, and your children shall be like the stars above. The Most High God being the watchman of this nation. Ambazonian, land of freedom, you shall live in plenty, meeting our need, and your children shall be like the stars above. The Most High God being the watchman of this nation. Hail, hail, hail this land of glory, we the Ambazonian, nation loyalty. Praise the soul of Savior who granted us the freedom. And legends to the hero who bowed the lonely Diablo. Glory to glory, we rise and never to fall. Here in a nation, flowing rivers and holy. Glory, glory, glory to the Father for making you a nation, a joy forevermore. Ambazonian, land of freedom, you shall live in plenty, meeting our need. And your children shall be like the stars above. The Most High God being the watchman of this nation. Ambazonian, land of freedom, you shall live in plenty, meeting our need. And your children shall be like the stars above. The Most High God being the watchman of this nation.
Fellow countrymen and women, dear Ambazonians, happy Independence Day. Let us honor some of the great warriors of our time who have passed on to cheer us up from the world beyond. Romanos, Biabia, Ivomba, Amigo, Divine, Chacha, Tiger, and all the valiant commanders. They gave their lives to defend our proud inheritance. All hail 21 gun salute to our great heroes. And now a moment of silence, please, to honor this. May their souls rest in honor. Fellow Ambazonians, dear countrymen, despite the hike in targeted summary execution of our innocent people by Paul Biya's killer squads, I still believe we are now at the twilight of our political daybreak, emptying the combined worth and wealth of a lifetime fortune into the country of our collective dream. At last, my people, the wind of total liberation is sweeping through Ambazonia, our priceless inheritance. Let's get it straight. The freedom of Ambazonia will not depend on the free will of our enemies. In celebrating this historic day, we are not trying to glorify our debts to satisfy a political interest, but to reaffirm our unique destiny in the opportunities and the hope that our collective sacrifice foreshadows on the generation to come. This day of every year is not just another ordinary day in the life of our nation. This is October 1st, our rightful Independence Day, a day which by all standards of legality marks the end of colonial rule and the establishment of a free and independent Southern Cameroon's nation. To ascertain the actual political morality and the biological connotation of this great day, a routine trip into history will suffice. Over 6 decades ago, precisely on the 21st of April 1961, nations of the earth assembled by some divine order and under the organizational auspices of the United Nations General Assembly to vote for the independence of the UN Trust Territory of the British Southern Cameroons, now known as the Federal Republic of Ambazonia, with the passing of Resolution 1608. It was decided that at midnight, September 30th, the trusteeship administration of Britain over Southern Cameroons will come to an expected end. That is how the 1st of October became British Southern Cameroon's Independence Day. Unfortunately, evil predators from French Cameroon, with the help of imperialist France, stole our gift in the air before it landed. So instead of decolonization, we were recolonized by a French proxy. Since joining the enslaved people of the Banana Republic of French Cameroon, only by imagination do we travel the distance into the jungle of our history to pay homage to our nabbed Independence Day. Throughout our botched experiment, celebrating this day was criminalized in the order of treason by our invaders. These evil occupiers have disappeared many of our comrades just for daring to identify or commemorate this day. Fellow Southern Cameroonians, beloved Ambazonians, as we make progress with this discourse, permit me to rehearse a brief chronology of significant events dating the political life of Ambazonia. By 1954, our forefathers had garnered enough momentum for the creation of the First Republic after withdrawal from the Eastern House of Assembly in Enugu, Nigeria. Through our parliamentary practice and in the creed of our civilized heritage, we had withdrawn in 1953 and asserted our rights to self-governance. However, our fledgling democracy, a continental flag bearer at the time, especially in the expression of political choices and transition of power, was short-lived, not without the hope invested and reflected in our character. Then came the official proclamation of our independence after a contentious voting procedure by the United Nations General Assembly on the 21st of April 1961. October 1st was isolated from Destiny's calendar to host this glorifying crown and privilege as the birthday of our nation state. Of course, in the wisdom of politics, our main intention was sought prior by way of the plebiscite if we would like to join a colleague nation, Cameroon, a former Category B UN Trust territory, which became the Independent Republic of Cameroon on 1st January 1960. The question will be to form a two-state federation of equal status or join the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Well, to this day, despite the gut-wrenching noise about this process, the result of the consultation vote and the outcome, there is no official document in the brazen and binding logic of law which justifies claims of any marriage with French Cameroon. Even if it is to be believed, as pundits of the Hallelujah Choir in Yaoundé would have it, that our political intention was sought and indeed given in stone. My people, there is nothing in the height of this business which qualifies or validates our current occupation by French Cameroon except new colonial accommodation. Fellow comrades in arms, from that doomsday of the proclamation of our independence in 1961, we have endured a bloody conspiracy like no other nation in the fold and mold of black on black politics. Today, the luxury of this nationalist superstition demands more than a proclamation of the right of existence of our people, to whom the legitimate promises to our independent nation. It is an affirmation of our true identity and a rejection of the colonial enterprise of fraud called the Republic of Cameroon. Credit me, if you may, to say that I stand this moment on the shores of our proclaimed independence to feel our hopes and the certainty and the reality that the time has come when we will all celebrate this day in honor, dignity, and even in tears of pride. Every people on earth has the right to celebrate the day of their birth. A day like this one. This is our heritage. This is our story. And this is our destiny. Dear Ambazonians, we have mentally graduated from a time of politics when our people were devalued by the curse of French Cameroon's hatred and division, where we were no different from animals in the eyes of our French Cameroon colonial puppeteers, when we were idle lambs of sacrifice in the ambition of those colonial stooges east of the Mongo, when, like some fantasy, our lives and destiny could be decided on a cigar table in Yaoundé by some French proxies, when the right and the righteous innocence and naivety of our people was the license for what should be correctly described today as the greatest evil conspiracy of colonial conquest in sub-Saharan Africa. My brave people, to say that all these are in the past, or that we should forget about history and think like Pan-Africanists today, will be a deliberate mistake of grave existential consequence for our endangered people. Here we are, an English-speaking people or country, by the end of World War II, but still at war with the shadows of a French colonial enterprise seeking to rename and enflesh itself over our destiny. We are being killed daily for who we are, and the post-Rwanda world is watching with tight lips and tied hands. We say no, no to those favoring French Cameroon to continue recolonizing southern Cameroons. No. No to those killing us for the rebranding of a political ideology. No. To those torturing our people for the gratification of their vampire instincts. No. No to those looting Ambazonia for the economic privileges of colonial bounty houses in Europe. No. To those maiming our children just to feed the social media with horrible news headlines and hashtags. No. To those who only brandish their responsibility to protect in a meeting agenda and not on their real-world agenda for Ambazonia. I told French Cameroon before in another language. Let me tell you again in a simple language. The person who does not want his neighbor to sleep should expect a knock on his door. Fellow Ambazonians, remember when this all started? We suffered in chains, but held back from 1961 to 2016. By the grace of our very Christian conscience, our civility was mistaken for stupidity. We kept condoning these barbarians who are killing us now inside our own country because they appeared in the complexion of our brothers. We obliged them when they asked to stay in our land. We accommodated them when they decided to overstay their welcome. We gave them our pure hand when they knocked our doors for marriage. We tolerated them when they desperately stood in opposition to our culture. We engaged them like gentlemen when they hewed down every fruit-bearing tree in our yard. We endured them in their reckless inconsideration of our lives, culture, identity, and aspirations as a people for too long. But it was a matter of time before destiny caught up with the iniquities of these French Cameroon wolves in sheep clothing in Ambazonia, who are still claiming privilege, authority, and title over Ambazonia as they are no so against us, the rightful owners and indigenous people of Ambazonia. A title, of course, without a title deed, a marriage without a marriage certificate, an enterprise of lies, Today, as the never again generation, we have one assignment: to right this great wrong through the sword of justice, with the flame of our courage and the undying spirit of our righteous resolve. So whether we live or die, let it be for Ambazonia. My dear compatriots, let no one preach colonial righteousness or political righteousness and colonial accommodation to your hearing anymore. This is the single strand of logic which rewards our oppressors and occupiers with privileged tools of terror, torture, and impunity in the ambition for power. What we have done since the national tragedy of 1st October 1961 is to resist and seek to exist in full recognition of our political identity. Dr. EML Endeli, and may his soul rest in honor, and others sought to the help of Nigeria to reverse this ugly tide of events. Our people assembled in Buea and Bamenda in what's known as the AAC 1 and 2 to provide leadership to their thinking. Goodwill citizens petitioned in the Bamenda High Court to reclaim our sovereignty. Dr. John Foncha, before his death, traveled with others to the United Kingdom to appeal for the consideration of Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth. High-powered Ambazonian diplomatic delegations severally visited the United Nations Secretariat in the United States for a redress of our bitter political experience. The birth of several nationalist entities, especially the Youth League of Dr. Ebenezer Akwanga, challenged our sense of urgency with a campaign for self-defense. Chief Justice Ebon, of blessed memory, seized Radio Buea to declare the independence of our nation. Chief Ayamba Ote's SCNC restored the consciousness of our political identity. Mandated representatives of our people seized the exclusive attention of the High Court of Nigeria in Abuja, presided by Chief Justice R.N. Okeje. His Capo SCNC-led team prayed the African Court of Human Rights in the Gambia to stake our claims in continental scope. The depth of our international petition have been constantly increased by the revolutionary sacrifice of Chairman Dr. Fongalafo, Honorable Gojidinka, Ambassador Henry Fossong, and the consortium under the leadership of Comrade Abombala Nkongo rekindled the flames of our political emancipation in a daring act of political sacrifice. Comrade Tassan Wilfred held on to the torch of hope that transplanted the engine of the consortium into a new restoration vehicle, the interim government. The former regime of Ayuk Tabe Julius proclaimed the constitution of our beliefs, and today the people's blessings are on my shoulders to defend our proclamation and finish the job of liberating our land. Surrounded by patriotic voices like Secretary Chris Ano, Tumfo and Bo Hebert, Honorable Kometa, my indefatigable Vice President Abongwa Harrison, and a terrific team of cabinet members, I can only pray and say, so help us God. We sang the song of solidarity and peace, but this has not proved enough. We have campaigned for understanding, but this has not gathered enough purpose. We have waged our bargain on the side of civility, but it has not reconciled our true intentions in this bloody interpretation of events. We have burdened our conscience with the soulful adventure of political appeasement, but it has not granted us enough foothold into the day's offerings. We have lamented our fate in self-pity, but this has not expressed our humanity enough. We began a movement of self-discovery with slogans of peace and justice, but it did not yield enough political consideration. We have changed this movement from a domestic revolution under the talents of curiosity to now a liberation struggle in the steady hands of a community-based leadership. But this is not enough. We have given the liberation struggle a center stage in the jealous eyes of global political causes, but this is hardly enough. This is where we are, and we know it too well to tell these truths to our children. Nothing reminds us and informs our agenda better than our collective sacrifices and common aspirations as a people. Ambazonia, it is my greatest honor and highest privilege as your president to welcome you to a new chapter of challenges in our brightest hope. Today's Independence Day celebration marks a turning point in our nation's history as we take charge of our destiny and lead the efforts for posterity. If the lessons are worth the learning, then we cannot tease and appease French Cameroon with peace, debates, and civil discussions or processes without locking faith with new firepower. Therefore, having extravagantly endured the long journey of peace, we now begin the shortest route to our independence restoration with strategies that should address the urgency. If French Cameroon's cruelty could not break the Ambazonian spirit when we had only words in our lips, if these barbarians of French ideological orientation could not destroy purpose in our words when we wielded just branches of peace plans, if this primitive force of belly politics could not buy us to submission when we knew little about ourselves, then it is safe to say, now that we carry weapons which mimic their might, we have forever risen beyond their capability of defeat. This war has gotten to the stage of self-destruction because no side will win this war. But the bigger part or the bigger party who has more pressure will surely be the greater loser. They have taken everything we had. What else can we lose by fighting on? Beyond the capabilities or the capacities, intelligence, and evil machinations and prayers of French Cameroon, Ambazonia is here today, tomorrow, and forever. To ensure this, we have swiftly moved to take advantage of the political blessings and opportunities of conflict to reposition our national liberation strategy. Fellow Ambazonians, dear warriors, my government has commissioned a $1 million+ arm project to unfold in phases to rearm any and every willing soldier of our liberation struggle as we dig deeper into the trenches of self-defense. Our robust community self-defense apparatus will benefit from the strategic resources from this timely project as counties and local government areas prioritize their security in this national strategic plan. Elite forces armed with our quest for justice and a righteous vengeance shall play a leading role to recapture territories still under the illegal occupation of French Cameroon. And our enlistment program, launched under the Amber War Draft campaign, shall be broadened in scope and depth to put weapons in the hands of any and every willing and patriotic warrior in Ambazonia. In the glorious expectation of this new phase, the Ambazonian restoration forces in every county and local government are now constituted into the People's Army. Every true Ambazonian soldier in this era deserves innovative upgrade and must be a lover of community development, a promoter of liberty, a guarantor of our sovereignty, a defender of our women and children, a campaigner for humanity, a liberator with political pedigree, a soldier of fortune, a steward of good hope, and a patriot of the order of Augustine Ngomjoa. My dear people, we have come this far to keep close to each other, to believe in ourselves, to take our vows seriously, to admire our efforts, to know this devil of a French Cameroon monster in her true colors. Let us unite in battle, so we may remain united in victory. Our common agreement around the essence of this day is a confirmation that what unites us is far greater than what separates us. As our people celebrate, affirming our identity, country, pride, and memories of their loved ones, we are reminded again of who we are. The centrality of this day in our liberation history and what we have sacrificed so far to behold this moment with great hope than ever. The defiance of the Ambazonian spirit knows no political bullies or war threats than the beliefs and truths about our identity. While we reiterate our willingness, readiness, and preparedness to a political mediation and negotiation in the existing international framework under the auspices of the Swiss-led diplomatic initiative, our resolve to statehood is well established in the will and choice of weapons of our people. We have been patient enough on our resolve for dialogue, but not even this piece of virtue in our identity should be taken for granted. The Ambazonian will is disposed to all weapons of political adaptation and survival, from the shores of Bimbia and the heights of Mount Fako, through the valleys of Lebialem to the grass fields and the highlands of the north. We rise together, stand together, and walk together. Patriotic salute to all our heroes who have gone before us. Patriotic salute to all our valiant Ambazonian restoration forces. Freedom greetings to our Ambazonian mothers. Patriotic salute to our fathers. And thank you, Ambazonia. Happy Independence Day. Oh, be proud to say Happy Independence Day to every one of our genocide survivors. Yes, we deserve this. Ambazonia shall be free. Long live Ambazonia. Short live the war. Viva Ambazonia Restoration Forces. Viva the Federal Republic of Ambazonia. And God bless you.
Hail this land of glory. We the Ambazonian, pledge our loyalty. Praise the soul of Savior who granted us the freedom. And legends to the hero who brought along with Diablo. Glory to glory, we rise and never to fall. Here in a nation, flowing with earth and holy. Glory, glory, glory to the Father for making you a nation, a joy forevermore. Ambazonia, land of freedom, you shall live in plenty, meeting our need. And your children shall be like the stars above. The Most High God being the watchman of this nation. Ambazonia, land of freedom, you shall live in plenty, meeting our need. And your children shall be like the stars above. The Most High God being the watchman of this nation.
Cameroon is made up of 1961, which leads to October 1000 Cameroon. The flag of Southern Cameroon is made up of 19